It's this. Go here. All right. Great. So, see, just kind of dim this a bit. Close that. All right. Share here. All right, and we live. We ready to go. So, all praise to the Most High. Let us continue sort of where we left off, man. Right? You guys can see the screen, correct?
Yes.
All praises. So, at the end of well, last week we basically asked the question, why did the Maccabees have such a an end, man? Why was every Maccabean other than their father, Mattathias, murdered, well, tragically killed, man, whether it be murder or by the hand of Edomites, even though they were such mighty men in the nation of Israel. Why did that happen? Right? So that's a question we ask. And last week we looked at the fact that they became allies of oppressors and devils. And that's why they died in this particular way. We looked at how Judah Maccabeus died, how Jonathan died. Um, uh, and then we looked at the negotiation between Simon and Demetrius the second, man. That Edomite, and how they became friends, man, and allies, right? Which is against the law of the Most High, you know? And so this week we'll continue to answer that question, right? Um, right, and then we're also going to examine how Simon was also murdered, you know, and a few other things as well. All right. So we're gonna finish looking at why the Maccabees had such a terrible end, including Simon, right? And then we're gonna look at how exactly the Maccabean line ended. And what you'll find is that it's directly connected to the events of um Yahushai's life, man. They're directly connected, right? So without further ado, in the spirit of trying to get through everything in good and decent time and in order, let us begin. So let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 20. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 20, and we'll read 1 to 4 and then 10 to 14. So let me see here. Let's get that, Sabs. Deuteronomy chapter 20. Let's get 1 to 4 and then 10 to 14. So why did the Maccabean brothers have such a terrible end? Well, this reason is looking at because the answer that this scripture is giving is because they trespass against the laws of Yahweh. Because they trespassed against the laws of Yahweh. First, we looked at because they made friends with devils. Well, what is the problem with that, right? For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. Doesn't the Most High love the whole world? Doesn't he want us to make friends with the whole world? Well, no, the Bible doesn't teach that. Religion teaches that. The Most High says that you are to stand against the devil. You understand? In fact, that's a big part of our faith. right? That you can read about in Revelation 13, verse 9 and 10. If people really want to follow Messiah, that's what they got to follow, man. You know, Revelation 13, verse 9 and 10 says, He who leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. And then it goes on to say, This is the patience and the faith of the saints. So if this is not what you're waiting for and hoping for, you're actually not following Yahweh, the true black God of the Bible, and the true black God of the universe, actually, right? So you're in trouble, right? That being said, they went against the Most High's law by befriending devils, man, and oppressors, right? Edomites, man, so-called Caucasians, man, right? And that's part of the reason that they were brutally murdered by these very same oppressors, man, by these very same Caucasians, right? Right? Either directly or by the mind of these people propagating in their own family to create greed um, and power hunger to murder them, man. Right? So first and foremost, let's look at so that being said, let's look at the point where uh we can see in the scriptures where they transgress the Most High's law by befriending these devils, man. Right? So go ahead.
When thou goest out to battle against thine enemies, and seest horses and chariots, and a people more than thou, be not afraid of them, for Yahweh is thy God with thee, which brought
For
thee
yeah,
out,
sorry, for Yahweh thy God is with thee.
which brought which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. And it shall be, when ye are come nigh unto the battle, that the priest shall approach and speak unto the people,
Mm-hmm.
and shall say unto them, Hear, O Israel, ye approach this day unto battle against your enemies. Let not your hearts faint, fear not, and do not tremble, neither be ye terrified because of them.
Read on.
For Yahweh is your God, is For Yahweh your God is he that goeth with you to fight for you against your enemies to save you.
So stop right there. Right? So this is a stark uh warning, you know. Hey, the Most High said, when you go up against your enemies and you see people more than you are, don't be afraid of them. And this happened with the Maccabeans, right? Um, I didn't write down the chapter, but we looked at it in part one or maybe part two, where when the people were going up against the Edomites and saw that the Edomites were more than them, they lost courage, man, you know? And the Most High said, don't do that, you know? Don't worry about these people because he is more than them. You understand? The battle belongs to him, and he is able to save us from our enemies, right? So where he didn't say negotiate for terms of peace, man, right? He said get ready to battle these people, and it don't matter if you're outnumbered, right? But the Maccabean family negotiated terms of peace, man, right? They didn't annihilate the enemy as their father told them, and more importantly, well, as Yahweh told them, and as their father reminded them. They didn't do it. Instead, they went and negotiated and made friends, and it spelled the end of them and the oppression of their people, right? Um, read 10 to 14.
When thou comest nigh unto a city to fight against it, then proclaim peace unto it.
Mm-hmm.
And it shall be, if it make the answer peace, and open unto thee, then it shall be, that all people that is found therein shall be tributaries unto thee, and they shall serve thee.
So,
And if
so, so hold on. So Israel's terms of peace is for the nation that they're fighting against to serve them, not the other way around. Yahweh's terms of peace is not for Israel to be servants to any nation, but for those nations to serve Israel. Those are the terms of peace. However, our brothers negotiated a different kind of peace, a wicked peace, where they became servants to these particular people, right? Edomites, devils, man. Satan, which just means the enemy, right? The people of the prince of darkness, pursuant to Daniel 9:26, right? Go ahead, right? So those are the terms of peace, right? Servitude of Israel. Those are the terms of peace, not the other way around. So go ahead, verse 12.
And if it will make no peace with thee, but will make war against thee, then thou shalt besiege it.
Mm-hmm.
And when Yahweh thy God hath delivered it into thine hands, thou shalt smite every male thereof with the edge of the sword.
So stop right there. So if there's no peace between you and a nation, right? Or you and a city, the Most High said, what? You're gonna do what? Besiege it, fight against it. All right? You're gonna break in there, you're gonna climb the walls, you're gonna break in the doors, you're gonna destroy the walls, you're gonna get in there. And then when you get in there, did he say to negotiate terms of peace? Sabs, when you get in the city, did the Most High say to negotiate terms of peace?
No,
What did he say to do?
to, to smite every man with the sword.
Right. So the Most High says, kill every male in that place. You offer them terms of peace. They said, no, we want war. So when the war starts, you're supposed to kill all the men, all of them. Okay? And our brothers trespassed against that law of Yahweh. This is the law of war, man. In fact, we had a book called the Book of the Wars, you know, right? Numbers 21:14. Uh, let's go here. Let's go there. Numbers 21:14, and this is the English Standard Version. Therefore, it is said in the book of the wars of Yahweh, Waheb in Supah, and the valley of Arnon, so on and so forth, right? So there is a book that Yahweh wrote. It's called the Book of the Wars of Yahweh, man. We don't have access to that book right now. The Edomites probably have it, right? But hey, we had a book called the Book of the Wars of Yahweh. And Yahweh says, I am a man of war. Yahweh is my name, right? In the book of Exodus, is that 3 and 4? One second. 15. Exodus 15 and 3. Yahweh is a man of war. Yahweh is his name. Okay? Yahweh is a man of war, man. Yahweh is his name. Okay? And he sits upon the mercy seat. Man of war, but sits upon a seat of mercy. Not a mercy man sitting upon a seat of war. Okay? So war is what he does. So these are the rules of war, man, spiritually. Okay? So if you want to do war according to the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God, this is how it's done. Right? So all these men were supposed to die, man. Right? Go ahead. In 14.
But the women and the little ones and the cattle and all that is in the city, even all the spoil thereof, shalt thou take unto thyself, And thou shalt eat the spoil of thine enemies, which Yahweh thy God hath given thee.
Which Yahweh thy God has given thee. And this is the book of the law, man. Deuteronomy, you know. One of the five books of the law of Moses, man, which Yahweh gave to Moses on top of Mount Sinai. Okay? So there's times even when the Most High says, you know what, kill everybody, right? When he deals with specific people, like for example, when we're coming into the land of Canaan, he wanted that land completely purified, right? Of all the people that were there, right? Because they were polluting the land with all manner of abominable acts, man. Eating abominable animals, sacrificing children, having romantic relationships with son, daughter, mother. Anything goes, man. That's what was going on there. The spirit of Sodom and Gomorrah. You understand? Which is a Hamite spirit, by the way. You understand? That's where that spirit first makes an appearance, you know? In any case, those are the laws of war. And our ancestors, the Maccabean brothers, did not do the war in this particular way. Remember, they are the priests, you know. This was a priestly family. And the Most High says up here that the priest is supposed to come forth and speak unto the people and encourage them for the battle, right? Which, if I remember correctly, Maccabeus did that, Judah Maccabeus, right? But he fell in that battle. Why? Because he had already negotiated terms of peace. He had already broken the commandment of Yahweh in doing these things, right? Now, why did they die? Because they broke that particular commandment. Because the Most High promised that if you make peace with these devils, he's gonna destroy you, right? And he cannot lie. So if you go and make peace with devils, he has to destroy you. You understand? So let's go to Second Samuel chapter 8. 2 Samuel chapter 8. KK, let me get verse 2, please.
She's busy eating.
All right, go ahead. You go ahead, please. Second
Now,
Samuel chapter 8 and verse 2.
and after this it came to pass that David, wait, did you
That's
say verse
fine.
2?
That's fine. I said verse 2, but go ahead. You're good.
And after this it came to pass that David smote the Philistines and subdued them, and David took Metheg Methegimah out of the land, out of the hand of the Philistines.
Mm-hmm.
And he smote Moab and measured them with a line,
Mm-hmm.
casting them down to the ground. Even
Right.
with 2 lines measured, he put to death. He
Right.
to put to death, and
Mm-hmm.
with 1 full line to keep alive.
Right.
And so the Moabites became David's servants and bought gifts.
So the Moabites, so David served the Moabites, or the Moabites became David's servants?
So the Moabites became David's servants.
Right. And also brought gifts, man. Okay. So these are the terms of peace, you know. Um, let's go to First Kings chapter 9, and we'll read verse 20 and verse 21. Go ahead.
And all the people that were left of the Amorites, Hittites,
Hittites.
Hittites, Hittite, Hittite, Perizzites,
No. Perizzites.
Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites, which were not of the children of Israel, their children that were left after them in the land, whom the children of Israel also were not able utterly to destroy, upon those determined
Levy.
levy
Mhm.
a tribute of bondservice unto this day.
So the ones that were not killed became what?
A tribute of bondservice,
Which is
slavery.
slavery, man. So the Hamites that the Israelites were not able to utterly destroy in the land, David put them in slavery, man. Okay? These are the terms of peace with the Israelites, which is why when Yahweh Shai, our true black Messiah and general and king, the prince of the universe, returns, it's going to be the same thing. The terms of peace for people to avoid total and utter annihilation will be slavery. You understand? And that can be found easily in Isaiah, the 14th chapter, right? Let me just go there real quick, right? Well, our people have been completely bamboozled by religion, man, right? By their oppressor and his religions, not knowing the words of God, man. Yahweh doesn't play. He's a war god, and his people are where his tenderness lies, right? He deal with these other nations terrible, right? And the Psalms tell us that he's terrible to these nations, right? And he deal kindly with his people, you know. So when you see the terror of the Most High upon the people of the Most High, right, there's a reason. It's not for madness. It's because millennium after millennium, we have broken the covenant of the Most High God, and He has shown mercy upon mercy upon mercy until it was time to take mercy away and brutalize so that mercy could return for the ones that He reserved for Himself, right? Because we are a stiff-necked nation, stiff-necked to do evil, wise to do evil, as He says, and to do good, having no knowledge, you know. It rang true millennia ago, and it still rings true this very moment, right? For most of our nation is caught up in demonocracy, right? And the mind of the oppressor, man. Meanwhile, a remnant holds true to the words of God. Anyways, uh, slavery will be the mercy of the nations at the return of Yahweh Shai, man, right? To subjugate the world. The same way America subjugated the world, man. Or Europe, so-called Europe, the Edomites, the same way the Edomites subjugated the world. Hey, we shall subjugate the world, but not with wicked oppression, but with justice, equity, and righteousness. It says in Isaiah 14 from verse 1, For Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob, and he will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. Right? So if the Most High is going to take the Israelites into their own land, who are the people in Israel right now? It certainly can't be the Most High's people because this is an end time prophecy, right? Verse 2, it says, And the people shall take them, who the strangers, and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them. When you possess a person, what is that? Well, that's slavery. We shall possess them in the land of Yahweh for servants and handmaids. Okay, and this is softened. Let's see if I can find Isaiah 14. Intro. Right? This is softened for a weak audience, right? Who can't handle the truth, man. and will possess the house of Israel and the land for servants and handmaids. You see that there? Slave, man. For slaves, man. Servant, slave, bond servant. Okay? It's not gonna be a regular servitude. You're gonna be a slave, man. You're under bondage. You don't just do what you feel like. You do what the Most High tell you to do. Okay? Um, all right. Uh, right. And handmaids, man. Maid servants, female servants, handmaids, female slaves, man. Okay? So slavery is going in, it's coming back, right? But this time the Negro is enslaving everybody. And it will be eternal. Okay? This is the mercy upon the nations, that they might live under righteous masters. Okay, where are we here? Did you finish that 21, correct? Yeah, bond service. So let's go to Joshua 9, and we'll read from verse 15 in Joshua 9. Go ahead, Saps. Go
And
ahead,
Joshua
Saps.
and Joshua made peace with them, and made a league with them to let them live. To let them live.
So
And
let me give you some context. Um, Before the Israelites reach into, I believe it's the land of Canaan here, the 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 people hear about them and how the Most High drowned all those Egyptians in the Red Sea on their behalf. And so these particular people get scared and they think they will also be annihilated. So they trick the Israelites into making a covenant with them. Okay? They came to them pretending that they had traveled far and they said, "Oh, we come for terms of peace." And the Israelites did not inquire of Yahweh, which was done by the by asking the prophet to go before Yahweh and ask Yahweh, what they should do. They didn't do that, and so they made a rash decision and ended up making peace with these people by being tricked. All right. So Joshua says, "Okay, well, no problem. You tricked us and you got your peace, no problem." Right? And then what does he do? He puts them into slavery, man. Right? And so for as long as they are alive in these lands, they are the servants of the children of Israel. Right? Go ahead. Verse from, I guess from verse 15. Go ahead.
and Joshua made peace with them, and made a league with them to let them live. And the princes of the congregation sware unto them.
Right?
And it came to pass at the end of 3 days after they had made a league with them, that they heard that they were their neighbors, and that they dwell among them.
They dwelt among them, yeah. So that's when they found out, hey, these guys didn't come from far away. These guys are actually living in the land, right? Go ahead.
And the children of Israel journeyed, and came unto their cities on the 3rd day. Now their cities were Gibeon, and Cheph, Chephirah,
Mm-hmm.
and Beerith, and Kirjath Jearim.
Yep.
And the children of Israel smote them not, because the
Mm-hmm.
princes of the congregation had sworn unto them by Yahweh God of Israel.
Right.
And all the congregation murmured against the princes.
All right. So you see, so these men that came were actually men of Gibeon, Chephirah, Beeroth, and Kirjath-jearim. So they came and deceived Israel in order to spare their lives. And because the Israelites had made a league with them and sworn by the name of Yahweh, they couldn't break the covenant, right? And the people were not happy about that, right? Go ahead. So before you go ahead, look at the mind of the Israelites in ancient times. The people are upset that they're not gonna slaughter these Gibeonites, the Chephirah, the people of Beeroth, and the people of Kirjath Jearim, right? They're upset, right? Today, if you said you were gonna kill the Gibeonites, the people of Chephirah, Beeroth, and Kirjath Jearim, 90% of Negroes would say, well, would start making excuses. Oh, you don't have to, you don't have to execute them. You don't have to exterminate them. Just spare them. Complete slave mind, man. Right? Israel has lost their edge, man. Most of this nation has completely lost their edge, man, and been beaten into submission. They're thoroughly colonized by the propaganda of their oppressor, man, right? And speak peace and live peace with the devil, man, while the devil has his foot on their neck and is exterminating them day after day in every single way, economically, spiritually, and so on and so forth. But their heart goes out to their oppressor. They got Stockholm syndrome, which someone gets when you abuse them so bad and they have no other way out. They begin to believe that if they humble themselves and crouch before you, then they will get a way out. You understand? And Esau, the oppressor, is a master of using this particular tactic to destroy the minds of people, right? The Most High tells you within the scriptures, um, the whole world wondered after the beast, man, you know? And then he tells you again, Babylon is a golden cup in Yahweh's hand that made the whole earth drunken, right? In Jeremiah chapter 50, right? And then he said, the whole earth drank of the wine of Babylon, therefore the nations are mad. People have lost their minds. Why? Because they drink the wine of Esau, man, right? They drink the wine of Esau, meaning they believe the things he says, right? Like they say, you drink the Kool-Aid, man. They believe the lie, you know, 51. They believe the lie and not manifested, multiply. They they swallowed it hook, line, and sinker, and they're telling other fish come and swallow it too. And as I said, I look at the brother there. You understand? This is what we've turned into, man. Right? Right? Clowning and shucking and jiving for our enemies, man. You know. This is Jeremiah 51 and verse 7. Babylon have been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand that made all the earth drunken. Now, is this talking about the old Babylon? It can't be, okay? Because the whole earth is not drunken by Babylon today. The whole earth has been made drunk by demonocracy, okay, called democracy. They believe in the oppressor, man. You understand? And this is the standard they hold in everything, spiritually, economically. They worship this man, right? Just as Yahweh predicted, right? Said them, so this is who made the whole earth drunken. And he's a what? A golden cup. So he make things look attractive. He tell you, come get the Lambo. come get that rollie, right? Come for the American dream, but it's a dream, a vision of the night, an illusion, and you wake up and it's not real. And now people have begun to see and now say to people, this is an illusion and it's not real, right? But Yahweh knew from time and told us from time, this thing is not real. But what? Most of the world is going to get drunk by the wine of the golden cup, the teaching of the golden cup. The nations have drunken of her wine, right? Therefore, the nations are mad. The Most High doesn't say this. He doesn't put this particular word here as a joke. People are insane. They believe all kind of madness just because Esau said it, man. And they won't question him, you know. Anyway, I digress. Where were we at? Okay. Where were we at? Joshua. They murmured against the princes. Give me 19 to 21. Go ahead. Sabs, you there? Sabs.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you stepping away, you gotta let me know, buddy. Because you're here reading for me, right?
Mm, yeah. Kara just finished actually.
Okay.
I'm
So,
also here. I can read.
okay, perfect. Okay, Sabs, go ahead and finish that.
Where?
You're at verse 19.
But all the princes said unto all the congregation, we have sworn unto them by Yahweh, God of Israel. Now therefore we may not touch them.
Right?
This we will do to them. We will even let them live, lest wrath be upon us, because of the oath which because of the oath which we swear unto them,
Mm-hmm.
unto them.
Mm-hmm.
And the princess said unto them, let them live, but let them be hewers of wood and drawers of water unto all the congregation, as the princess hath promised them.
Right. All right. So they lived. But what did they become? Well, the water boy and the woodcutter. You understand? This was the work that they had to do, drawing water and cutting wood. So you never had to go cut firewood again in Israel for as long as we were over these guys. No, nor did you have to go carry any water, man. Somebody would bring you your water and your wood every day, like real royal people, man. Right? And this is coming back upon the earth at the return, at the setup of our kingdom by our Messiah, man. Right? So, um, those were the terms of peace. And being a servitude and slavery, man. And our brothers, the Maccabean brothers, trespassed against this particular law, man, right? And they trespassed in a major way. One second here. I think I have. Did I write it down? I think we read it in the last scripture. In the last, sorry, lesson. I'll bring it out again. I think it's Isaiah. We want Isaiah 31, right? When Isaiah 31. When Isaiah 31 and I'll just read verse 1. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help. Of course, Egypt being a metaphor for the enemies of the Most High. And stay on horses, and Egypt literally means slavery. Mitzrayim means slavery, man. Bondage. Woe unto them that go down to bondage for help, man. And stay on horses and trust in chariots because they are many, and in horsemen because they are very strong. Right? You're trusting in the armies of your enemies, man, your oppressors over Yahweh. But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek Yahweh. And the Most High says, woe to them, which is destruction, man. Destruction to the people who do this, right? And this is why, despite their might, um, our brothers were destroyed by Yahweh, right? Because he cannot lie, and he said that destruction would come if you went to Egypt for help. And that's literally what these brothers did, right? Or I should say spiritually what these brothers did by going to these Edomites to negotiate terms of peace. So they trespassed Yahweh's law. That's why they died in that particular way. They disobeyed their father. That's another reason, right? Let's get First Maccabees chapter 2, right? See here. Right. Let me get that, please, Sister Kira. Chapter 2, and we'll read verse 50 to 61. Go ahead.
Sorry, from verse 50?
Yeah, from verse 50 to verse 61.
Okay. Now, therefore, my sons, be ye zealous for the law, and give your lives for the covenant of your fathers.
So stop right there. So to give you context, Mattathias is about to die. Okay, this is the father of the Maccabees. Okay, now when the time drew near that Mattathias should die, okay, he said unto his son, now have pride and rebuke gotten strength and the time of destruction and the wrath of indignation. And then he proceeds to give them this speech, okay? Let me just note that here. So next time I just start reading from 49. Excuse me. Next time we start the reading from 49. And then he said, so then he goes on and says, hey, be zealous for the law and give your lives for what? The covenant of your fathers. Okay. So the first thing he said is be zealous for the law. If they were zealous for the law, they wouldn't have negotiated peace with these Edomites, man. Okay. And he said, and give your lives for the covenants of your fathers. So the first mistake they made was that they were not zealous for the law. They kept the law half-heartedly, man. They did things halfway, right? And the stumbling block over which they stumbled was one to kill them, right? Being that Isaiah 31 verse 1. That's the stumbling block that they stumbled over. Now, what you're going to see is that they were not zealous for the law and made these mistakes. And as generations passed, the zeal for the law of Yahweh grew less and less and less. And they kept less and less and less of it until absolute destruction came to their house, right? Read on. I think you're in, let's see.
51.
Yeah.
Okay. Call to remembrance what acts our fathers did in their time. So shall ye receive great honor and an everlasting name.
Mm-hmm.
Was not Abraham found faithful in temptation, and was imputed onto him for his righteousness?
Right. So one second. This is so crazy. The first man their father mentioned is Abraham. He said he was faithful in temptation, meaning when he was tested, when he was put on trial, Abraham passed the test. Because Yahweh told him, yeah, bring your son for the slaughter, right? I mean, how many of us would bring our child up to a mountain thinking, Yahweh's gonna make me sacrifice my child, right? But Abraham was so faithful to Yahweh, he said to himself, to his son, when his son asked him about the sacrifice, he was so faithful, he said, Yahweh will provide, man. He said Yahweh will provide. He trusted that Yahweh would provide a sacrifice. I'm pretty sure he didn't want to sacrifice his son, but he said, you know what, Yahweh say, so we're going, right? And Yahweh provided a sacrifice, and it wasn't his son. But he never would have known that if he didn't hold the faith in the temptation. This shows you again, when the trial really came upon the Maccabean brothers, they did not hold the faith. That's why they died in this particular manner. And that's why they brought destruction upon the whole of Israel. You know, go ahead. 53.
Joseph, in the time of his distress, kept the commandment and was made Lord of Egypt.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In
Phineas.
Phineas, our father, being in being zealous and fervent,
Prevent.
fervent,
Mm-hmm.
obtained the covenant of an everlasting priesthood.
Right.
Yahushai, for
Mm-hmm.
fulfilling his word, was made a judge in Israel.
Right. And this Yahushua is, of course, Joshua. Okay. Uh, Moses is one of the two faithful brothers in the desert. Okay, Moses' aide. Okay, that's who it's talking about. Him and Yahushai, the prince, have the exact same name. All right, go ahead.
Caleb, for bearing his witness before the congregation, received the heritage of the land.
Mm-hmm.
David, for being merciful, possessed the throne of an everlasting kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Elias, for being zealous and fervent for the law, was taken up into heaven.
Go ahead.
Ananias,
Mm-hmm.
Azarias, and Misael,
Mm-hmm.
by believing by believing were saved out of the flame.
By doing what?
Believing.
By believing, man. They believed Yahweh would save them, man. They believed, and he did. Out of fire in a furnace, he saved them, right? So much so, they didn't have the smell of smoke on them, nor was a single hair scorched, man. But the people who were creating the flame, many of them died, right? So this is how faithful Yahweh is when you believe and trust in the things that he tells you, man, and are obedient to his word, right? So go ahead. And remember, this is their father. This is a big speech their father is giving them before he dies. He gives them examples and everything. And still they went left, man. Right? Go ahead.
Daniel, for his innocency, was delivered from the mouths of lions.
Mm-hmm.
And thus consider ye throughout all ages, that none that put their trust in him shall be overcome.
Right? Nobody that put their trust in Yahweh will be overcome. It don't matter what the army numbers look like. It don't matter what the strength of the enemy looks like. It don't matter how desperate the situation looks. Nobody who put their trust in Yahweh will be overcome. That's what their father told them before they died. He died, right? And he said, hey, be zealous for the law. And he gave them examples of people that were zealous for the law and kept the commandment of the Most High, right? Um, and then he gave them a last bit of encouragement. and said, listen, man, you guys stay faithful, you will never be overcome. But they were overcome. So what does that mean? Well, they didn't believe. They didn't stay faithful. When the trial came, they broke, right? And this is why they had such an end, right? Their father told them, give your lives, don't be afraid of your enemies, and be faithful in the law, which they disobeyed. And that's one of the reasons they were destroyed. So that brings us to Simon, right? Because we already looked at the death of basically all the other brothers. I think we just kind of glazed by Eleazar, but Eleazar died in a battle as well. So we're gonna look at what was the end of Simon and the Maccabees, right? So let's get First Maccabees chapter 15. The end, as I said before, was annihilation, right? And this is not good, right? Now they were annihilated from this earth. And the question is, will they make it to the kingdom? I don't know. I really don't know. Um, the judgment of the servants of Yahweh is for Yahweh, or really for Yahweh Shai, because he gave over the judgment to him. So are they gonna make it? I couldn't say, you know. But we can look at this as an example, right, of how atrocious of a sin it is to forsake Yahweh and and uh make peace with the devils, man. Don't make peace with Satan or his people. Don't do it. Keep an arm's length and keep them where they are. These are not your friends, these are your enemies. Thus saith Yahweh. And he tell you, as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. And now we're about to get the full example of exactly how the snake slithers and eats all the eggs in the bird nest. All of them, right? So let's get we're in 15, let's get 25 to 31 Psalms, please. Thank you, Sister Kira.
Which verse?
KK, you're available to read here?
Yeah, one sec. No, not yet.
Okay, Psalms, go ahead.
Which one?
Verse 25 to verse 31. Okay, so remember, so what was the end of Simon and the Maccabees? The answer is annihilation. They were annihilated from the earth, right? And here you were gonna see how Antiochus breaks the covenant that he made with Simon. So Simon goes and make a deal with the devil, and of course the devil breaks the deal. Yeah, of course he breaks the deal, right? So let's read about that. 25 to 31. Go ahead.
So Antiochus the king camped against Dora the second day, assaulting it continually, and making engines, by which means he shut up Tryphon, that he could neither go out nor in.
Right. So remember, Simon had made a covenant with Tryphon for peace. Tryphon is a Edomite, man. And he made a covenant with Tryphon for peace, right? And so look what happens, right? The covenant is so deep and he's so committed to the covenant with the damn demon. Look what he does. Go ahead.
At that time, Simon sent him 2,000 chosen men to aid him, silver also, and gold, and much armor.
So Simon sent 2,000 Israelites, man, silver, gold, and a lot of armor to go help a Edomite fight another Edomite, man. This guy is a priest, a high priest. Verse 24 tells you. And the copy hereof they wrote to Simon the high priest. This is the leader of the nation of Israel, sending Israelites to die for a demon and his nation. For Satan, man. For the unholy nation, sending his people to die, sending silver, sending gold, and a lot of armor to defend the devil, man. This is absolute madness, you know. And we give thanks and praise for the day of Simon, but people gotta remember the Most High said the scriptures are written for our learning. You're supposed to learn the good things and you're supposed to learn the lessons from the mistakes that your ancestors made as well. Right? The Most High shows you the level of absolute insanity that was going on in Israel. The high priest is now in cahoots with Satan, man. You know. Read on, Sabs.
Nevertheless, he would not receive them, but break all the covenants which he had made with him afore, and became strange unto him.
Right. So now he's going to help the devil, and the devil says, "Yo, I don't want none of your things, man. Don't involve yourself in this, man. This has nothing to do. I don't want none of your things." In fact, he did this because he already decided, yo, to hell with this guy. He changed his mind, right? And I believe the chapter before, they had made the covenants of peace, right? Which is why I asked you guys to read the first Maccabees, well, I think I said 14, 15, 16, but really you should start in 13 and get the full picture, right? So Antiochus is like, well, to hell with you, man, Simon. I don't want your people. I don't want your money. None of that, right? Now he became strange unto him, meaning then now they're not friends again. And furthermore, look what happened. Go ahead.
Furthermore, he sent unto him Antiochus, one of his friends, to commune with him and say, Ye withhold Joppa and Gazara with the tower that is in Jerusalem, which are cities of my realm.
Right. So just to give you context, the last time they had a negotiation, this same man said to him, "Oh, you can have all the cities that you hold right now. Don't worry about it. All right, it's yours. Hold your things. You're good." Now he's saying, "You're holding Joppa and Gazera and the fort that we built in Jerusalem. These things belong to me." So he switched up, right? Go ahead. 29.
The borders thereof ye have wasted, and done great hurt in the land, and got the dominion of many places within my kingdom.
Within my kingdom. Okay. So now, so we see again another piece of evidence showing Simon made terms of peace with this Edomite, right? But he's subservient to the Edomite, which is against the law, right? You wasted things and you did all these things are in my kingdom. You know, Niger. I want my things back, man. Right? We'll read on.
Now therefore deliver the cities which ye have taken, and the
Right?
tributes of the places,
Right?
whereof ye have gotten dominion without the borders of Judea.
Right. So all outside the borders of Judea, all the things that the cities you took and the money you took from them, give it to me. Go ahead.
Or else give me for them 500 talents of silver, and for the harm that ye have done, and the tributes of the cities, other 500 talents. If not, we will come and fight against you.
If not what?
If not, we will come and fight against you.
Right. Right. Let me see if I can find this, man, because this is absolutely crazy. Um, One second. Where were we here? 25 to 31. Oh, 15, sorry. One second. Mm-mm-mm. All right. Go ahead. Where were you? In my kingdom. All right, go ahead. 31. Right, so we're gonna fight against you. I think that's all I wanted. Yeah. All right. Um, so the Edomites switched up, right? And said, listen, man, I need 1,000 talents for these cities that you have, or I'm gonna come and I'm gonna fight against you, man. All right? Because you have my things. You got my things. All right. Let's go to First Maccabees 16. Okay, so we'll get Sister Kira, if you can read for me from 11.
Sorry, what verse?
From 11.
Okay.
Yeah. KK, are you available to read? Okay, go ahead. You're going
More
to 24. You're going to 24, Kira.
okay. Moreover, in the plain of Jericho was Ptolemaeus, the son of Abubus, made captain, and he had an abundance of silver and gold, for he was the high priest's son-in-law.
Which high priest? Simon. Okay. So this guy named Abubas, remember we're looking at the annihilation, well, what was the end of the Maccabean brothers, okay, who were priests, okay? Um, and we're looking at the fact that the end was annihilation. And look who did it. Now, well, first it was the people that they allied with, the Edomites that they allied with, um, for Judah, for Jonathan as well. And then now we have uh Simon having survived the Edomites, and look what happens in his own home, right? Now, I don't know much about Ptolemaeus, but I'm assuming that Ptolemaeus would have been an Israelite at this time because they had not fallen so far out of obedience to the law. They had just disobeyed certain key laws, which Yahweh said that he would destroy them for, right? So Ptolemaeus, the son of Abubas, was a captain in the army. He had a lot of silver and gold. Why? Because he was Simon's son-in-law. So Simon's daughter married this man. Okay? And look what he does. This guy, Ptolemaeus, who was the daughter, the husband of Simon's daughter. Look what he does. Verse 13.
Wherefore his heart being lifted up, he thought to get the country to himself, and thereupon consulted deceitfully against Simon and his sons to destroy them.
So what is he plotting, Sister Kira?
Consulted deceitfully against Simon and his sons to destroy them. Oh, he wants the country for himself.
Yep. So he's plotting to kill the high priest and the high priest's sons. So no one is left of the house to take the seat of high priesthood except the next in line, which is the husband of the daughter. So now in Israel, we go from keeping the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High to playing Game of Thrones. Now we're playing politics, right? It didn't just happen like that. Judah started to play politics. Jonathan started to play politics. Simon started to play politics. And now his son-in-law is playing politics as well and taking it to them to mimic the Jamaicans. It's wartime. It's time for deceit and sneaking around like Esau, man. It's time to become the beast, you know? And it gets worse as time goes by. And Lord willing, I pray we're able to get through it all. Read on. 14.
Now Simon was visiting the cities that were in the country, and taking care for the Now Simon was visiting oh my gosh. Okay. Now Simon was visiting the cities that were in the country, and taking care for the good ordering of them. At which time he came down himself to Jericho with his sons, Matthias and Judah, in the 100 year, in the 11th month, called Sabbath.
Right. So now Simon is coming down to the country with his sons. And notice he calls his sons after the name of his father and his two brothers. Okay. You're going to find out about the third son just now, but he named his sons after his father, Matthias, and his brothers, Judah and Jonathan. All right. So he comes down to the city to do business, right? He goes, throughout the cities to do business, all right? A high priest business because he runs the whole country, right? And then what happens? So once he's in Jericho, what happens? Go ahead.
Where the son of Abubus receiving them deceitfully into a little hold called Doshus, which he had built, made them a great banquet. Howbeit he had hid men there.
Right. Okay. Go ahead.
So when Simon and his sons had drunk largely, Ptolemy and his men rose up and took their weapons and came upon Simon into the banqueting place and slew him and his two sons and certain of his servants.
And certain of his servants. Okay. So they set the guys up, man. They set up Simon and his sons. And when they drink a good set of wine, and let me tell you something, wine will make you lose your coordination. Wine will put you to sleep. Okay? Wine will take you straight to bed. So they eat and they drink wine, and when they well woozy and chilling, the man's son-in-law and his men kill them. This is a mighty man of Israel. Why is he dying in this particular way? I showed you guys already. The destruction had to come upon them because of this trespass against Yahweh, siding with the devil, man. Okay? And they are priests and they know the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh. So this is how Simon goes out. His son-in-law murders him and his two sons, man. Okay. Read on. Verse 17.
In which doing he committed a great treachery, and recompensed evil for good. Then Ptolemy wrote these things, and sent to the king, that he should send him an host to aid him, and he would deliver him the country and cities.
Right, so stop right there. So again, so right away, Ptolemy writes to the king. All right. I said, listen, man, send me an army to help me, and I'm gonna get you and I'm gonna get you the country, Judea. I'm gonna give you the most high country. Okay. And I'm gonna give you the cities that you told Simon he has to give you because he took it from you and he has to give it to you or give you 1,000 talents for it. Don't worry, I'm gonna give it to you. As soon as he killed Simon and his sons, he sent quick for an army. Why? Because his head would have been on a platter if he didn't. Because there are people in the land that are loyal to the Maccabean family. And so if he didn't have an army, these people certainly would have killed him, and he certainly wouldn't have been able to give those cities back over to the Edomites. Okay. So, and this is top level politics, man. This is what's happening at the top level, family, at this time, right? Go ahead, in verse 19.
He sent others to Gezerah to kill John.
To do what?
To kill John.
John is the third son of Simon. He's trying to annihilate everyone. He even sent people to kill John, man. Right? Go ahead.
And unto the tribunes he sent letters to come unto him, that he might give them silver and gold and rewards.
Right. So whoever was tributaries to Judea and the Maccabees, he sent them letters, all right, to try and get them on his side. Go ahead.
And others he sent.
Sorry, before you read on. So essentially, he's sending letters to the enemies of the Israelites to try to make friends with them and say, "Hey, I'll give you silver, gold, and rewards if you come and help me fight against these people. Okay, help me to hold my power now that I've taken it, or help me to establish my power, right, in this place." This is their brother-in-law, man, who's married to their sister, man. Right? Go ahead.
And
20.
other sorry. And
Sorry.
others he sent to take Jerusalem and the mountain of the temple.
Mm-hmm.
Now one had run afore to Gezerah and told John that his father and brethren were slain. And quoth he, Ptolemy hath sent to slay thee also.
That should say and said he. All right. I don't know what kind of typo this is, but whatever. Ptolemy I've sent this lady also. Go ahead. And told probably I don't know. Anyways, go ahead. That's not
Here,
the word quoth though, because that's not a word.
mhm.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hereof, when he heard, he was sore astonished. So he laid his hand. So he laid hands on them that were come to destroy him, and slew them, for he knew that they sought to make him away.
Take him away. It should be take. Two
Oh,
typos. Yeah, it's fine. Right? Yeah, so he knew that they plotted to take him away. Right? Oh wow. My bad. It is a word and it means said. Quoth is a word and it means said. You learn something new every day. So that is correct. Brethren was slain, and quoth he, which means also said. Yeah, throw your English teacher that curveball one of these days and see what they say. Okay, where did we stop here? Kira?
Uh, I just stopped at 22.
Okay, so let's see. Mm-hmm. Oh, he knew they sought to take him away. All right. Go ahead.
As concerning the rest of the acts of John, and his wars, and worthy deeds which he did, and the building of the walls which he made, and his doings, behold, these are written in the chronicles of his priesthood, from the time he was made high priest after his father.
Right. So as you can see, I mean, the man's plot failed, right? Ptolemy's plot failed, but he did kill Simon, man. He killed Simon, and he also killed the two brothers of John. Now, John's account, as far as scriptures go, is written in the chronicles of his priesthood, which we don't have today. Maybe the Edomites have it, I don't know, but we certainly don't have it in any of the books of the Bible. All right. But what we do have is a witness from the times. Some Israelites say he's not a credible witness, but every historian swears by this guy. His name is Josephus. And here is the account that he gives of what what the end of how the Maccabees were annihilated. All right. So within the scriptures, we have until Simon, and we see the annihilation of Simon, and we know that John became high priest. And so now let's take a minute to look at what happened after what happened the account of John, right? And and how the annihilation happened from John um onward. So, family, it just gets worse from here. This is it just man, just get ready, man. This is about to turn into Game of Thrones. That's basically what it's about to turn into, right? So let's have a look. So how the Maccabees were annihilated, okay? We're gonna read from Antiquities of the Jews, okay, which is the book written by Josephus. And it's the main source of information for the downfall of the Hasmonean dynasty. Watch who destroys the Hasmonean dynasty. Who's that? Who destroys the Hasmonean dynasty? Everyone can see the screen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. So Savs, who destroys the Hasmonean dynasty?
Herod.
Herod, man. And it's the same Herod. The same Herod. Okay? That same Herodian line that sought to destroy Yahushai. That's who destroys the Hasmonean line. Okay? So let's look at it. Antiquities of the Jews. What? Let me pull that up. Antiquities of the Jews. What do we have here? This is an online library that I use all the time. They have ancient books, some books that cost $50,000 and $60,000. They have these books here at this reference library that you can read for free. Okay, so let's see here. We're gonna look at page 293, Antiquities of the Jews. Hmm. 14:12:1. 14. This is book 15, 14, 12, 13, 14, 12, 1. All right. Herod betrothed Miriam, a bloodline ancestor of Simon Thassi. All right, so this is what we get here. Is this page 293? Should be 292, 293. All right. All right, so this says here, Herod ejects Antigonus, the son of Aristobulus, out of Judea and gains the friendship of Antony, who was now come into Syria, by sending him much money. Um, Antony being Mark Antony, that Edomite, who ruled Rome. So Herod made friends with him by bribing him, right? On which account he would not admit of those that would have accused Herod. All right, so because Herod gave him money, anything you said against Herod, he wouldn't listen. And what it was that Antony wrote to the Tyrians in behalf of the Jews. Okay, so it says here, now Ptolemy, the son of Menenius, brought back into Judea Antigonus, the son of Aristobulus. Um, Aristobulus is one of the sons of John, Simon's son, who is known as in this time, or in this account, he's known as John Hyrcanus. Okay, who had already raised an army and had by money made Fabius to be his friend, and this because he was of kin to him. Marian also gave him assistance. He had been left by Cassius to tyrannize over Tyre, for this Cassius was a man that seized on Syria and then kept it under in the way of a tyrant. Marian also marched into Galilee, which lay in his neighborhood, and took 3 of his fortresses and put garrisons into them to keep them. But when Herod came, he took all from him. But the Tyrian garrison he dismissed in a very civil manner. Hold on a second. Let's see here. Okay, let's keep reading. Um, Very civil manner. Nay, to some of the soldiers he made presents out of goodwill he bet to that city. When he had dispatched these affairs and was gone to meet Antigonus, he joined battle with him and beat him and drove him out of Judea presently when he was just come into his borders. But when he was come to Jerusalem, Hyrcanus, this is Simon's son John, and the people put garlands around his head. They did what? They put garlands around Herod's head. How far have you fallen as a Israelite that now you're putting garlands around the head of devils, man, and now playing demonocracy, man? You're playing politics, right? For he had already contracted an affinity with the family of Hyrcanus by having espoused a descendant of his. And for that reason, Herod took the greater care of him. So Herod the Edomite took good care of John Hyrcanus because Hyrcanus allowed the Edomite to espouse one of his daughters, man. This man contravened Deuteronomy 7:3 and gave his daughter to be married to a demon, man. Okay? Says as being to marry the daughter of Alexander. Sorry, by having espoused a descendant of his, and for that reason Herod took the greater care of him, as being to marry the daughter of Alexander. Alexander being one of you'll see here. Oh my gosh. Alexander, the son of Aristobulus. So Aristobulus, son of John Hyrcanus, Alexander, son of Aristobulus. Okay. Um, the son of Aristobulus and the granddaughter of Hyrcanus. So you see who Herod married? The granddaughter of John Hyrcanus, by which wife he became the father of 3 male and 2 female children. He also married another wife, so he had another wife of a lower family of his own nation, a Edomite, whose name was Doris, by whom he had his eldest son Antipater. All right. So, John Hyrcanus um, gives, or rather, yeah, well, John Hyrcanus gives his granddaughter to Herod to marry, man. Okay. And he actually comes from being in Babylon essentially to make sure he comes to the wedding. Okay. And as the man of his house, right, the grandfather that's still alive, if he said no, Herod could not marry this man, sorry. But he says yes, right? And even though he didn't say yes, he comes to support the wedding, man. Right? In our culture, if the father of the house says no, it's no. And if you want to say yes and the father of the house come and say no, it's no. John Hyrcanus supported Herod marrying an Israelite man, an Edomite marrying an Israelite. This is how far the family fell. Okay, so this is one tidbit on the account. Let's go to page 302. So 1464, Herod takes over the Hasmonean dynasty. 1416, book 14, chapter 16. Okay, and verse 4. 4. There we go. All right, great. Right, and the title says how Herod, when he had married Miriam, took Jerusalem with the assistance of Socins by force, and how the government of the Hasmoneans was put to an end, man. Okay? How the government of the Hasmoneans was put to an end. So we're reading here in 4. Oh, I think we want page 302. All right. Yeah. Oh, this is it. This is it. I remember this part here. So it says Herod's fear of this it was that he, by giving Antony a great deal of money, endeavored to persuade him to have Antigonus slain. Who is Antigonus? Antigonus was a descendant of John Hyrcanus, again, who is a descendant of Simon Maccabeus. Okay. Um, well, you know that John, yeah, well, we ended with Simon in the Bible. So Simon had John, which you know, because we ended with John actually. So This Antigonus is one of the descendants of John, all right? And he got the high priesthood, right, as a 17-year-old, right? And the people absolutely loved him, right? And Herod, who had bought the leadership of Judea, um, was afraid of competition. So he had Antigonus, this 17-year-old high priest, killed, man, drowned him. All right. So this is kind of, talking about uh, the results of that, and it might even bring it in a bit. It says Herod's fear of this, it was that he, by giving Antony a great deal of money, and this is Mark Antony, if I'm not mistaken, Mark Antony of Rome, all right, a great deal of money, endeavored to persuade him to have Antigonus slain, okay, which, if it were once done, he should be free from that fear, all right. What fear? See if we can get it because it's right here. Let's see. Herod was afraid lest Antigonus should be kept in prison by Antony, and that when he was carried to Rome by him, he might get his cause to be heard by the Senate. This is the same Antigonus that he drowns, and might demonstrate as he was himself of a royal blood. Antigonus was what? Of the royal blood, and Herod but a private man. Okay? Just a regular Edomite. The man was of the royal blood, an Israelite, a high priest, a Levite, deserving of the office. And therefore it belonged to his sons, um, however, to have the kingdom. All right? On account of the family they were of, in case he had himself offended the Romans by what he had done. All right? Um, all right, great. So let's go here now in a verse in the end. So Herod's fear of this, right? Fearing that what? The man would have a chance once he went before the Romans in court. All right. Uh, he gave Antony a great deal of money, and they're going to persuade him to do what? Have Antigonus slain, man. Hey, take this money and kill this Israelite, man. Right? Which, if it were once done, he should be free from that fear. And thus did the government of the Hasmoneans cease 126 years after it was set up. 126 years after it was set up, full setup. This family was a splendid and illustrious one, both on account of the nobility of their stock, and of course the Hasmoneans are the Hasmoneans. The Hasmonean dynasty is the Maccabees. All right, that's what they are called in the historical account, and you can look that up yourself. And the dignity of the high priesthood, as also for the glorious actions the ancestors had performed for our nation. But these men lost their government. Watch this. These men lost their government by their dissensions one with another, and it came to Herod, the son of Antipater. Family, this is the same Herod the Edomite, man, who was of no more than a vulgar family and of no eminent extraction, but one that was subject to other kings. And this is what history tells us was the end of the Hasmonean family, man. So before Yahweh Shai shows up on the scene, um, the Maccabees are exterminated, man. Right? The Maccabees are exterminated. All right. And if you think I'm joking, Look, the very next book says containing the interval of 18 years from the death of Antigonus, who was drowned by what's his name there? Herod, man. You know? Okay. This other one, I mean, you guys kind of get the point, or hopefully y'all get the not just the point, but also how to navigate the book. I really want to wrap this. Yeah, I really want to wrap this before our time is up. So I'm not gonna read this last account, but I will read the summary, okay, of Herod's destruction of the Hasmonean dynasty. All right. So you guys can kind of see what's going on. All right, so this is from Gutenberg.org. Okay, it writes out, I guess in today's English, the same account of Josephus. All right. So this is chapter 22 in, let's see what book this is. 22 in the Wars of the Jews, also written by Flavius Josephus, the same historian, okay, that wrote Antiquities of the Jews. Okay. So let's go down to chapter 22 and I'll zoom in a bit. It says, now when the war about, well, first of all, let me read. Oh my gosh, this is 19. The murder of Aristobulus and Hyrcanus, the high priests, as also of Miriam the queen. So this Herod, right, son of Antipater, I'm gonna make sure here. Yes, Herod who killed Miriam was the same Herod who tried to kill Yahushua. So the very same Herod we read about in the scriptures, family. This is him. This is how he got his start. So when you hear about Herod killing all the 2-year-olds and younger in Judea to try to prevent Yahushua from becoming king, he already had a pattern of doing that, man. He had already killed many high priests. So you want to kill the king of kings, the high priest of high priests, right? The high priest of the order of Melchizedek, which no high priest could surpass. He tried to kill him too. He was in the habit of killing high priests. He had already exterminated an entire high priest family. Same Edomite. John Hyrcanus, that we just read about, gave his granddaughter to this man to marry. We went from negotiating with devils to giving our daughters to devils to marry, to those devils annihilating us. This was the end of the Maccabean family. This is how they fell into destruction. This is the destruction, actually, Yahweh brought upon them for them becoming friends with the devil, man. Okay? And the Most High tells you in Isaiah 65, 11 and 12, if you make a table for the troop, he's gonna number you to the sword, man. And we see a real life example of this actually happening. So hopefully we get the we catch the lesson. Do not make friends with snakes. Do not side with devils. You will certainly be annihilated, right? So let's read this account real quick here. Yeah, we might be, 15 minutes past, but I want to wrap this up today. Okay, so it says here, However, the murder of Aristobulus and Hyrcanus, the high priest, as also of Miriam, the queen. However, fortune was avenged on Herod in his external great successes, all right, by raising him up domestical troubles, all right. So Herod had a lot of domestic troubles in his house. And he began to have wild disorders in his family on account of who? His wife, of whom he was so very fond, right? So he liked her a lot, right? Like these Edomites, you know, hey, they really love when they have a sister on their side, man. Sister's more beautiful than these other women, you know. I mean, just solid, you know. Anyway, for when she's not loose. This is a queen, man. Mind, body, and soul. So of course it's easy to love a queen, man. She's above reproach, you know. She's not out there like that, right? She's classy above all these trashy women that Herod grew up with. These damn Greeks and Romans, man, who you're gonna find under a bridge somewhere doing God knows what, you know. Anyway, says, for when he came to the government, he sent away her whom he had before married when he was a private person, and who was born at Jerusalem, whose name was Doris, and married Miriam, the daughter of Alexander. So they even had Edomites in Jerusalem coming up, man, and he had married one, right? Because remember, it said the woman was of his own nation in the previous account. So he married Miriam, the daughter of Alexander, the son of Aristobulus, on whose account disturbances arose in his family, and that in part very soon, but chiefly after his return from Rome. Hold on a second. After his return from Rome. For first of all, he expelled Antipater, the son of Doris, for the sake of his sons by Miriam. Herod named his son after his father. His father named Antipater, he called his son Antipater. He expelled his son Antipater, the son of Doris, for the sake of his sons by Miriam, out of the city, which is Jerusalem, and permitted him to come thither at no other times than at festivals. After this, he slew his wife's grandfather, Hyrcanus, which is John Hyrcanus' family. Herod killed John Hyrcanus. That we read about in First Maccabees, man. When he was returned out of Parthian to him under this pretense that he suspected him of plotting against him. So he said, oh, I said, John Hyrcanus is plotting against me, so he killed him. That's what he said, but that's not what was happening. Now, this Hyrcanus had been carried captive by Barza Pharnes when he overran Syria. But those of his own country beyond Euphrates were desirous he would stay with them. You hear that? Beyond the Euphrates is in Babylon. They wanted John Hyrcanus to stay with them. And this out of commiseration they had for his condition. And had he complied with their desires when they exhorted him not to go over the river to Herod, his people told him, don't go to this Edomite. He had not perished. So if he listened to them, he would not perish. But the marriage of his granddaughter to Herod was his temptation. Didn't his father say if Abraham was faithful in temptation? and the Most High dealt with him. John, this is John's temptation, John's trial, John Hyrcanus' trial, and he failed. Instead of mashing up that wedding, he went to support it against the good, the advice of other Israelites, man. This is sad, you know. Um, but so he had not perished, but the marriage of his granddaughter to Herod was his temptation. For as he relied upon him, here you have a high priest relying upon a devil again, and was overfond of his own country, he came back to it. Okay, so he relied upon Herod, and he loved Judea, man, Israel. He came back to it, came back to Israel. Herod's provocation was this: not that Hyrcanus made any attempt to gain the kingdom, but that it was fitter for him to be their king than for Herod. So because the Edomite knew that John Hyrcanus was more fit to be the king than him, he killed him. He killed him for the old hatred, for the old jealousy family. All right? And you know what? We're gonna end it right there. We're gonna end it right there, and we'll finish next week. Okay, because I don't want to rush this account at all. It's very good, and I want us to be able to take our time and go through it. Um, so we'll end it right there. Herod killed John Hyrcanus, okay, that we read about, and we're gonna see all the other nasty works that this snake that the Maccabees began to let into the house of Yahweh. We'll see all the destruction, the complete destruction that this snake caused. All right. So with that, all praise to the Most High. You know, if you're watching this and on any social media site, especially YouTube, and you're not subscribed or keeping the link with us yet, definitely do that. You help the word of the Most High go out far and wide by doing that. So make sure you subscribe to the page or follow or whatever wherever you're consuming this. Most likely on YouTube. So just subscribe to the channel. Help the word come out. To the so-called Negroes who see this, you are the biblical Israelites, the children of the Most High God, the holy people of the Most High God. You must return to the law, statutes, and commandments, or you will certainly perish as this world falls apart. To the other nations who are not of Israel, the Most High has designed for the Israelites to teach you the law, statutes, and commandments, not religion. Okay, so if you want to learn the truth about how to serve the true black God of the universe, because that's what he is. He has woolly hair. He's a Negro. If you want to learn how to serve him, you have to learn under the tutelage of his holy people, who he ordained to teach you the law, statutes, and commandments. You can find that in Psalm 147, verse 19 and 20. You can find that in John 4, verse 22 to 23, and many other scriptures. Baruch chapter 4, from 1 on down, and many other scriptures. And to the oppressor, the Most High has reserved for you death and destruction, and you shall surely have it at his hand. All right. So I'm gonna cut the live feed, and everybody who's on the in the Zoom, just wait around so that we can end in a word of prayer. Hallelujah.